We have an exclusive interview coming up in moments with Kyle Oland, who's head of the Q at Myrtle Beach. That is where 8 top YouTubers, Grant Horvat, Peter Finch, Micah Morris, Luke Kwan, Fat Perez, Busta Jack, and Dan Rappaport and George Bryan are going to play against 8 other like professional touring golfers, and one player will earn a spot in the PGA Tour event in Myrtle Beach coming up in May. So I want to know, and ultimately this is where we want to get to in the questioning of this. Is this a bait and switch? Are they using these 8 YouTubers in a way where it seems cool, but they do not want whatsoever one of these guys getting in a PGA Tour event? Why would they not just have all YouTubers compete for one spot? It seems like you're stacking it with legitimate touring professionals, Korn Ferry, Tour, PGA Tour, Canadian Tour. Like, you're stacking the deck against it so that it would take nothing short of a miracle for one of these guys to make it into the PGA Tour event. So, are they using this as a classic bait and switch? That's what we're going to get to in the questioning here in moments. As always, thanks for listening. Please make sure you subscribe to this channel and get the latest and greatest, everything happening in the world of golf. And links below for everything like 7 Diamonds clothing and other stuff down there for you. Great discounts. Link below. Now let's get into our exclusive interview with Kyle Oland. All right, we have Kyle Oland here at the director of marketing? Is it playmyrtlebeach.com? Is that correct?
Yeah, so Golf Tourism Solutions, Matt, is our company. Play Golf Myrtle Beach is our forward-facing brand.
Okay. And you guys are, this is exciting. You guys are heading up the Q at Myrtle Beach.
Yes, yeah, yeah. The Q at Myrtle Beach, our brainchild. We are our company, Golf Tourism Solutions, along with the Visit Myrtle Beach, which is the Chamber of Commerce here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We're the sponsors of the new Myrtle Beach Classic, the newest PGA Tour event on the schedule this year. And as a result, because of that, we have a sponsor exemption that we received that we can give to someone. And um, rather than taking the traditional way of doing something, we decided, hey, why don't we create something kind of special, first of its kind, and do the tournament in the queue at Myrtle Beach? And I'm sure we can get into a little bit about what that is and how it
Yeah.
came to be and why we're doing it. But yeah, that's a little bit.
So how many sponsor exemptions does a sponsor get when they're hosting a tour event?
Yeah, it actually can differ. It's all depends upon the negotiations
Mm-hmm.
between sponsors and the PGA Tour. Um, we have technically we've received access to 2. Uh,
Okay.
one is the use for the queue at Myrtle Beach, and the other one is being used. An exemption spot is being used at the General Hackler Collegiate Tournament, which is a tournament held every year in Myrtle Beach at the Dunes Golf and Beach Club. So the winner of that, the college golfer that wins that, will win an exemption.
Okay. So this is unique because you guys could just pick basically anybody you want for the sponsor exemption, but instead you've come up with this unique idea of the queue at Myrtle Beach. So how did the tournament, the qualifier for this sponsor exemption come about?
Yeah. So really, I think it comes back to a little bit about, our thought process with our marketing for our destination. Myrtle Beach is, as we talked about a little bit ago, it's the golf capital of the world. We like to think of ourselves as innovators in the space of golf. The golf package, which is one of the very people that take golf trips are very familiar with golf packages. That actually started in Myrtle Beach. So as we were thinking through this, we said, hey, innovation in golf is in our DNA. Why don't we try to rethink the way these
Hmm.
sponsor exemptions are used? Typically, like I said earlier, they're given to just some random person who might be local, who can play the golf at play the game at a high level. But we said, hey, why don't we create a tournament, the Q at Myrtle Beach, and invite 8 YouTube golfers and then 8 what we're calling aspiring professionals to battle in a one-day tournament to earn the right to win that sponsor exemption. And the reason we decided YouTubers is one, um, you know, that is where eyeballs are at currently in the game of
Hmm.
golf. I don't think anybody can deny it. And from a marketing perspective, you kind of go where the eyeballs are going. And the other thing that's interesting about YouTube golf is that these guys can actually play golf at a high level. A lot of these guys have played at the collegiate level. Some, George Bryant has actually played in a tour event. So now we're going to give them the opportunity to say, hey, when the lights come on and the stakes matter, can you play?
Can
Right.
you
And I think
play?
it'd be interesting for the world to see.
How did
But
you
it'll
go about selecting these 8 guys?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I think the one thing that one I was not aware of this when I embarked on this journey, that the PGA Tour actually has qualification standards for their sponsor exemption
Yeah.
spot. So the individual must have a at least a zero index or better, right? You got to meet that.
Hmm.
Uh, so first, we had to check that box off on our YouTube golfers. Hey, will your game actually match up to what you need? The second thing is, hey, are you a good ambassador for us, right? Whether we've had a previous relationship with you or we know a little bit about your brand, is that a good fit for us? And then the third thing is, are you available to play? We've reached out to a couple people that unfortunately were not available.
Who were
And
who
then
were they?
so we reached out to Garrett Clark.
Yeah, we know that. He mentioned that on a video the other day.
Yeah, so we spoke with Garrett's team at length. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out.
Okay.
Um, would have really loved to have Garrett part of it, but totally understand. And then we also reached out to Mac Butcher, who's from Canada. Unfortunately, he was unavailable as well. He's actually in South Africa right now.
Oh,
So
wow.
the availability had something to do with it. And then, hey, do they have a following that would warrant them playing in this? Because all of our creators are going to be creating their own content as well. And our goal is to be able to share this pretty unique, one of a kind event to the world. So
Yeah,
again,
I wanted to ask about that. So all the YouTubers that are there, are they able to film their qualifying round
yeah,
while they're playing?
yeah. So this is the deal. So the event takes place on March 4th. Not sure when you're going to air this, but it'll be Monday, March 4th
Yeah, it's coming up.
at TPC Myrtle Beach. Um, and then we have hired a production team and working with a company. They are going to be producing a essentially a documentary style, kind of Drive to Survive style content that'll air on April 23rd to show the drama, who wins this event. That'll air on the Play Golf Myrtle Beach YouTube channels. And then 72 hours later, our creators will all publish their content that they're creating as well, kind of their
Okay.
individual experiences behind the scenes, their round. And that'll take place 3 days later.
Okay, so that's April 23rd and then 3 days after that. How are you going to keep all the info? Because I know I was trying to get out there just to kind of report on it and get the word out. Everybody's going to want to know who wins, right? How are you going to keep that locked down in terms of, someone leaking out the final results? Not that I don't think that would really matter, but because no one's going to see anything until, the
Yeah,
documentary.
it's a tall task, Matt. But the course is not it's the event is not going to be open to the public. We will have security out there, making sure that folks that want to try to pop in can't pop in. Everybody from our and basically we were talking about COVID a little bit ago. We're using the term if you're not essential, you're not out there. So it's an essential folks only. From
Okay.
our production team to our creators, our players, caddies, um, and their content teams out there. That'll be it. And everybody on site is signing agreements, NDAs about releasing of the information. So we're trying to keep it as tight-lipped, think reality television as possible. So we'll
Yeah.
see if we can do that. That's the goal.
So are these guys that are there, the YouTubers or anybody, are they being paid to play?
Nobody's being paid. That is actually not allowed per the PGA Tour's
Oh.
rules and regulations. So nobody is being paid to be out there.
So the incentive for them to do this would be they get content and a potential. It's I don't know if it's a benefit, but they would have to play in a PGA Tour event if lightning strikes in a bottle and they make it.
Yeah, I think this is a unique opportunity. All right. If you're
Yeah,
specifically if you're a YouTube golfer. And then some of these guys, like George Bryan is a prime example. George Bryan of Bryan Brothers, he has actually been chasing the
yeah,
dream of playing on the PGA Tour. He got a sponsor exemption into the Bermuda Championship, made the cut. So for some folks, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Might be one of the easiest ways to qualify, potentially, right? In terms of the field size.
yeah,
For those guys, this is a great content opportunity, right? In the world of content and creating interesting stories, this is one of the most unique and interesting stories
yeah.
we've seen. So I think that's a big carrot for a lot of people as well.
Why not just have all YouTubers duke it out? Why bring in, and the reason I ask, because I did a podcast earlier about this and I got some questions like, are they pulling the bait and switch on us? Right? Are they setting us up with all the guys we want to see and then stacking the deck so that, not they don't like, do they even really want a YouTuber in the event?
That's a great question. Um, and I think the easiest way to say this is right. This is the first time this has ever happened. They to make this happen required a lot of conversations between our organization and the PGA Tour. To get the ability to do this, the PGA Tour has been very gracious in trusting us to do something like this.
Yeah.
I don't, so the best way I can answer that question is to make sure that the field is legitimate as possible in the eyes of some folks. Some folks might not view a field of YouTube golfers as legitimate, but let's say Grant Horvat wins and he beats 8 guys, some of which have won on Corn Ferry, some who have played and lived. Um, that's pretty legitimate to me.
For
So
sure.
I think it legitimizes our field in the eyes of what I'll say golf purists.
Fair enough. What's the end goal then for your company? Is it to get the eyeballs on the documentary, to get the, buzz around the pre-tournament, all the pre-tournament stuff and the creators content, or is it to move eyeballs to the PGA Tour event there?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, again, the reason why we came up with this is, hey, we wanted to create as much exposure leading into the Myrtle Beach Classic as possible. The reason being, Myrtle Beach Classic is an opposite field event, opposite of the Wells Fargo. We are a first year event. Our backs are up against the wall. We need
Mm,
to create some buzz to generate eyeballs for our tournament. The second thing is my mission in my role is to bring new golfers into the Myrtle Beach market and introduce them to the golf capital of the world. What better way than to put one of the most groundbreaking events the game has ever seen in Myrtle Beach, the golf capital of the world, for people to see? They're going to be playing at TPC Myrtle Beach. The course is in absolute fantastic condition, and it'll give people a taste of what golf is in Myrtle Beach.
that's exciting. What, so the benefit for the YouTubers, like why would they agree to do this? I mean, obviously, I mean, it would be cool to see Fat Perez in a PGA Tour event. It would be like a fish out of water, but super exciting, generate a ton of interest, in something like that. I think would be spectacular. But if it's gonna like I said, what's the benefit for him?
What's the benefit for Fat Perez? I don't want to speak for FP.
Or,
Uh,
the YouTubers in general, other than they get a YouTube video out of it and they get I guess it's a good opportunity. But
yeah,
I would like, okay, personally, I'd be like, man, I'd be scared to death. Like if I were to make it.
yeah. You know what? I was listening to it. We use FP for an example that he talked about. Hey, this is a cool challenge for him to play tournament golf. Like we talked about a little bit earlier, that a lot of people watch these guys in their YouTube videos. Well, now this is a round where the stakes matter. And he's talked about how he's going to turn into a different person. So I
Mm,
think this is a great opportunity for these guys to test themselves, right? Like, what are they really made of? And at its core, most people that play golf, specifically all these guys, that everybody in this field can play this game at a high level,
yeah.
right? And hey, as a competitor, when you're inside the ropes and the score matters, how are you going to fare? I think that's a fun challenge for some of
Yeah.
these guys. And what if one of them catches lightning in a bottle? What if FP is playing in the Myrtle Beach Classic? What a story that would be. And I think probably the greatest
I'd love it.
compare, yeah, I would too. And the greatest comparison is what we've seen with boxing and MMA with Jake and Logan Paul,
Hmm.
right? These guys were YouTubers, great athletes,
Yeah.
and at first, when they came into the scene, people questioned their ability to be fighters. Now, I don't think people are questioning them as much that they've really invested the time and energy into it. And it's also entertainment. And that's what sports is at its core. Sports are a competition. The sports is also entertainment. And I think in a time right now where the division between Live and the PGA Tour has kind of taken maybe some of the entertainment value out of golf,
Yeah, for sure.
YouTube golf is filling that void.
How did you pick the other eight?
Yeah. So a
How'd they
lot
come
of these,
about?
yeah. So a lot of these guys have some South Carolina roots.
Yeah.
Um, and being a South Carolina based event, we wanted to kind of be in our hometown. Um, so a lot of those guys have that. Some of them have very interesting stories that these guys have been grinding their whole life, the
Mm.
chance to try to get an opportunity. Because again, that's if anybody that knows golf and knows how to you get onto the PGA Tour, for a lot of people, it's a grind. So we're taking guys and giving them a chance, maybe one of their best chance ever. We even have the number one junior player in the world,
Yeah.
Tyler Watts, a 16-year-old kid. Who knows what could a
He
16-year-old
might
kid?
slingshot his way into that event for sure. He's a
Yeah, and
player.
the interesting thing about Tyler Watts is he's actually playing that course 4 days in a row prior to that event. He's playing in Dustin Johnson's World Junior Golf Championship.
Yeah.
He's one of the favorites to win that, so he's going to have a little bit leg up on the competition. So it could be a 16-year-old kid. We'll see.
How are you going to pair these guys up during the qualifier? Because you've got eight YouTubers, right? And so they're I'm assuming each one of them's bringing two camera guys for their own content, right? At least. And then you
Yeah,
got your documentary crew.
yeah. So we're doing groups of four.
Okay.
We need to do groups of three, or kind of pare it down a little bit, but with the amount of camera crews and we have, like budgetary constraints, it calls us to go groups of four. But we are going to be pairing. We'll announce the pairings at a dinner Saturday night to the field. But what I can say is that we will be pairing up two pros, is what I'll call them, with two YouTubers. So it'll be two and two in each group.
How do you think so this is interesting. Do you think the pros, like the pros aren't necessarily used to the YouTube content. So do you think that's gonna, but they are used to cameras being around probably and more people. So I don't know if it's a pro or con, but how do you think that'll affect them? It might be good for the YouTuber guys, actually.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? Because while this event will not be open to the public, it will be quite the spectacle with each group when you talk about, upwards of 8 cameramen, 9 cameramen per group, audio people, production assistants, right? Uh,
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. The one thing our camera crew has been instructed, and our producer, who's a fantastic producer, again, he just produced a documentary for the LA Rams and Matthew Stafford, letting our camera crew know that, hey, we will not be interrupting play. If you're not in a position to get your shot, we're not having anybody slow up.
Hmm.
I think that's where we're going to see, because our YouTubers are used to that style, where
Yeah.
some of our pros, they're used to, hey, when I'm ready to hit it, I'm hitting it. So that's one thing the camera crews have been instructed: no slowing down play for your problems.
This is exciting. Do you have a favorite that you think is gonna take home, or are you too neutral? You got to be remain neutral on that.
Yeah, so I've been fortunate. I've worked with a handful of these guys in the past, know some of them. I'm going to keep that one close to my chest, but I do have someone I would like to see win.
All
And
right.
I have a group that I would like to see win. I would love to see a YouTuber win personally. I'll put it out there.
I'm rooting for a YouTuber. I'm gonna guess I would pick George Bryan would be the one that would do it. I wouldn't be surprised though if 16-year-old kid, does something special, but I think probably George has the most legit chance.
Yeah, I think George, I see a lot of people commenting from the YouTuber side, George, and George can play.
Yeah.
Um, and the thing about George too is I don't know how he's from South Carolina. Well, a lot of these guys are from South Carolina,
Yeah.
but he specifically has played a lot of golf in Myrtle Beach. His wife is actually from the Myrtle Beach area. So I'm sure he's pretty familiar with that course. And that course, because of Dustin Johnson holding his world class junior event there
Hmm.
this weekend, it is going to be playing as hard as it will play the entire year. The rough
Wow.
is thick. And then we have a little rain coming in Saturday, which might prohibit some cutting of the rough. So it might be even a little rougher than normal and longer. So it's going to be very tough conditions.
That'll be good. Do we know which Busta Jack guy is in the field?
We won't, we will, but Cole and Mason are playing a playoff. Actually, the day before.
Why do they have to do that? Why can't we let them both in?
Okay, so yeah, so why is that, right? Because of our field. We wanted 16
Yeah.
and we said, hey, Buster Jack, you guys can participate, um, but only one of you guys can play. So they said, all right, well, again, when we talk about what's the incentive for them, that's an extra piece of content for Cole and Mason.
Yeah.
So they're going to play a playoff actually during the practice round to decide who gets to play. So they don't even know until the day before.
How exciting for those guys. Poor guys. One of them's got to get the cut early.
Yeah.
Either way, I wish we could watch it like live or sooner than we got to wait over nearly almost 2 months to see the video come out.
Yeah, and here's a little inside information on the timing, right? We would love to do a live broadcast. Unfortunately, we're not allowed. It's probably the best way of putting it. Just we weren't given that opportunity this year. I think with this
Mhm.
potential success of this event, year two of the Q could see a live broadcast. We'll see. But then again, in terms of the timing, right? We wanted there to be some excitement leading up to the Myrtle Beach Classic for the winter. And then the timing of our course, when we're in the golf capital of the world, April is the peak season here. So it'd be really hard to get the course availability, but also have it in the conditioning that it is going to be in on Monday to be championship caliber. So that's where that date came to be. And then also, this is a pretty tall task. This video will be the first of its kind in the YouTube space,
Yeah.
and there will be 12 cameras running just for this production. So the amount of time it's going to take the team to edit it and do it well, because we know a lot of people are excited for it. We just wanted to make sure we did it right.
Well, I wish I could be there for the queue. I understand now why it's locked down, unfortunately, but I wish you guys the best. Thanks so much, Kyle, for coming on and answering all my questions, and I'm sure a lot of other people's too. So, is there anything else
Absolutely.
you want people to know about going into this?
Yeah, no. So appreciate you having me on, Matt. I think the one thing is we're already starting to think about next year. I do think there's a large possibility this event will be open to the public next year for iteration two of the queue. TBD on what that could look like, but it could look very similar. But yeah, tune in on April 23rd. You can watch the queue at Myrtle Beach. 8 YouTubers versus 8 aspiring pros. 16 golfers, one spot. Could a YouTuber win? We'll find out, but you'll be able to find that video on Play Golf Myrtle Beach on our YouTube channel. And we're excited. Thank you for having us, Matt.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Kyle. Well, there you go. I got to say, it's not a bait and switch after all. It's a brilliant way to market and promote an event that's going up against another event out there on the professional golf world. So, congratulations. I wish the best to whoever makes it. I'll be rooting for a YouTuber and nothing against everybody else. But you know what? The more I talked to Kyle, the more I bought into this, that this is not only a one-time awesome idea, but an ongoing strategy for golf in Myrtle Beach. I can't wait for it. Good luck and thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe below. See you guys soon.